Hi, this is Kathleen from Sunny Mountain Patterns. Here's how to make the Rosemary Apron. The pattern is free at the Facebook group that's Sewing Sunny Mountain. So we're going to sew the shoulders together first. Of course, you have to do both sides. I recommend wovens, so things like linen, duck canvas, or duck cloth, canvas. I used upholstery in this case, woven cotton. Denim might work. You just have to have a good enough machine. So we're going to double fold 1 inch in the back so that it's nice and finished when we're ready to finish everything else. So I'm using a serger to finish the seams. When I do finish it, you can of course use pinking shears, or you can do zigzag, or you can select a fabric that will not fray. That's not this fabric. So we're going to do both sides where you magic. So now we're prepping the pocket. I'm sewing mostly around the periphery. I actually ended up sewing along the other straight side as well and just left 2 or 3 inches an opening so I could evert. So these are the sides. I used contrasting or different fabric. You don't have to use the same different fabric. You can use the same fabric. A fold over 1/2 inch, double fold over, so it's actually 1 inch total to finish it. And then you don't have to do it after you already sewed it on because that's a pain in the butt. Okay, so you're going to serge all of the edges or do the zigzag stitch like I mentioned, and now we're going to fold over double once 1/2 inch of the neck. So it's probably too hard to do a double. If you want to do it without using a serger or doing that type of finishing, go ahead and get bias tape. But you're still going to have to do the sides finishing. So if you have a serger, definitely use that. So all the way around. And then I believe we're going to attach the sides from the bottom up. So match the bottom hem, right sides together, and then pin it in place. Normally, if I wasn't filming this, I would just wing it. So you're more than welcome to, but sometimes you're not going to have things that match up. I have done that before. So you have to, of course, do the other side. So go ahead and sew all those. And then once we're done with that, note the sides are already serged. We are going to fold over the sides above the side panel, just above the side panel, because the side panel is already attached. Presumably, I did not actually do that in this video. Pretend it's already sewn in. Use your imagination. Thank you. So now we're going to evert or turn the pocket right side out. And you can use a chopstick to do this, a smooth chopstick, or your scissors like I'm doing, or your hand if it's so slender, or you left a bigger opening than I stupidly did not. So you want to tuck in the open ends, and then we're going to top stitch that in place. Like so. Actually, the whole length is better. So once we're done with that, stitching everything down, we're going to attach the ribbon. So I used organza here, mostly because this is the only one that kind of went with the fabric. I have other ones, but it's black and it's very jarring. So I wanted something slightly pleasing. You can use any type of fabric, any type of ribbon you want. You can even make self fabric ribbon, but I am too lazy to make a tutorial and a pattern for that. Bias tape will also work, but I've noticed when you use that, it starts to fray on the inside, so try to use finished ribbon. I think you can use up to 1/2 inch. One of mine is 3/4 inch, and it works perfectly fine. 1/4 inch is probably too thin, so anything 1/2 inch or wider. Now we can attach the pocket. I put it on the left side, mostly because I'm left-handed, if you haven't noticed. And I actually put it right in front of where my hip bone is. This one I actually put a little too high. So approximately 5 inches from the bottom hem This will depend on how long your arms are, of course, and how tall your torso is. But I like to put it where it's my hip bone because it's a little more comfortable. So now we're going to finish this up by folding the outside shoulder inwards and sewing 3 inches from each side of the shoulder seam. This way it will fit nicely. It won't stick out like you have 80s shoulder pads or you're Romulan. This tucks it in so it fits a little bit nicer. It creates a nice, cute little fold as well. So now we're done. We're going to 1 inch double fold the hem. If only sewing went this fast to get an apron in 6 minutes. That'd be awesome. So double fold, open these seams if you need to. It's probably a good idea to keep the bulk down so your machine can sew through it, especially if you have heavier material. This is kind of a lightweight upholstery. So I'm also tucking in, you can see where I actually sewed the tie onto the bucket. Super mad. But you can also see where when I tuck in, sometimes you might need to triangle the corner if it's sticking out particularly a lot. This one does not actually do it. It's pretty crisp. But if it's sticking out to the left, go ahead and make a little triangle and then tuck it in. But beware that it's going to be a pain for your sewing machine to go through. So now we're going to finish the ties. You just do a regular tie so it's straight across. You know what? It's an apron. I don't care. Tie it however you want as long as it's safe. And that's the pattern. It has a big enough pocket to put a big phone in. Thank you. Enjoy.